Did you know that there are roles higher than senior in software engineering? There's staff. Some companies will have a senior staff. Then there is principal, and there is the distinguished level. There's one big difference between a senior and a staff plus engineer, and then there's a few other things which really, really help, but they're not necessarily required. The one that's required is high impact. You must be high impact. You need to be high impact so that the business can justify the pay, for one. You'll often hear of staff, principal, and higher being multipliers. You'll often hear distinguished level being inventors, creating like whole new technologies or patterns that enable like many people. The second thing that can help is team lead experience. So there are different archetypes or ways to be staff. And one of them, only one of them, is the tech lead, team lead. So there's going to be 3 or more others that don't require this, but still 1 out of 4 is going to be what? A 25% improvement to your ability to make staff. So it's a significant thing to get. The third thing will be meeting a particular job post requirements, and this often deals with years of experience. The fourth will be to understand the role. So you can operate at the staff level without knowing that that's what you're doing. You might be a senior leading a team, and you may have all of the behaviors that a staff engineer would have, and you might just be ignorant of that fact. So the way that you understand the role is to do a little study. So Will Larson has written the state-of-the-art book on what it means to be a staff engineer these days. He identifies 4 archetypes. 1 is the tech lead, team lead. 2 is the architect. 3 is the solver, which is a deeply technical individual. And then 4th is the right hand, who is also deeply technical, but particularly pairs with engineering leadership, like a director plus, to carry out arbitrary tasks of interest. If you research staff archetypes, you'll see a number of other archetypes from other thinkers. One would be Joel Kemp's article. This is really, really good, and I agree that the business partner is a staff archetype. I think the best engineers understand how to operate as a product manager and with product managers, even pushing back on product managers when appropriate. Still, this article is less known, so if you're referring to an archetype in an interview, I would go with the Will Larson book just because it's so much better known. I was made multiple staff and principal offers throughout this job search, and the years of experience requirements I saw ranged from 6 to 10. Really, no one was asking more than 10 for staff. For principal or for senior staff, you might get some that require even above 10. And so you want to think in terms of talking points, how you can advocate or brand yourself as staff. So one way to do this that's pretty easy is look at the job description and raise the bar on everything they're asking for. You asked for knowledge with one of these 3 languages, I know all of them. You asked for 6+ years of experience, I have 10+. You asked for a couple years of team lead experience, I have more than double that. You see how you're building a case that you are a qualified staff plus. And then impact on the things that you deliver. So at Upstart, I founded the Python Guild, which is a horizontal practice area of over 100 individual contributors. Massive, massive impact here. And we did things like InnerSource, a service launcher, which increased the productionization speed of new Python services significantly. And so this is a multiplier activity, right? And then also delivering products and projects. So I delivered core critical path functionality for a product called ASPL at Upstart would be a recent example. This led to, I don't know if like I can legally disclose the numbers to everybody, but we're talking about like 7+ figures in impact, like millions of dollars. And then I also like led the COVID response for CreditWise at Capital One. The CreditWise tool has like 40 million plus monthly active users. So these are like really, really impactful big things. So maybe that would give you some sense of the impact. Also Laterally, a recent milestone there, crossed 15 million social media views, which is really, really cool. And you can submit a pull request. So I think a half dozen other people have contributed now. So you see how I'm kind of acting as a team lead there by being the lead maintainer of an open source project with over half a dozen contributors. But you can also submit a pull request and participate in some of those achievements and milestones for Laterally as well. I highly encourage it. Ending on a final note with Laterally, there's an existing GitHub issue to create a junior to senior plus checklist. So Laterally currently has a free and open source checklist that will help you learn to code and land your first or next programming role. There is a lack of emphasis currently at the senior plus level. And so there is existing backlog items to address that for senior plus. Would love your participation, or I mean, you can just wait till I get around to it. But if you're willing to review the GitHub issue and throw together another checklist and maybe some blog articles. That could be super helpful. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for your time.